I'm too fast.
Champion from
I'm
the
the
crib.
king. Born the champ.
Born the champ from the crib. Ah!
The spark that lit a legend, Muhammad Ali's journey. At the height of his career, he lost everything except his voice, his faith, and his courage. But he chose the right one, and years later, he came back, stronger, louder, unbreakable. He reclaimed his title, made history in fights like the Rumble in the Jungle, and became not just a boxing legend, but a global symbol of resistance, integrity, and inspiration. From a stolen bike to Olympic gold, from a dusty gym to the world stage, from the ring to the conscience of a nation, Muhammad Ali showed us that greatness isn't given. It's forged through struggle, faith, and fearless conviction. Absolutely. Here's an expanded, inspiring and human story of Muhammad Ali. Not just a champion in the ring, but the man who transformed hearts far beyond it. Muhammad Ali, the fighter, the faith, the flame. He danced, he laughed, he fought, with fists, with words, with purpose. He was a boxer, a believer, a beacon. This is Muhammad Ali, the man who shook the world and reminded it how to stand, not because he never fell, but because every time he did, he rose. Chapter 1. The spark that lit the flame. In 1954, a 12-year-old boy in Louisville, Kentucky, stood in disbelief. His red Schwinn bicycle, his prized possession, had been stolen. Angry and upset, he told a police officer named Joe Martin that he wanted to whop the thief. The officer, who also happened to train young boxers at a local gym, gave the boy some advice. Well, you better learn how to fight first. That boy was Cassius Clay, who would later become the world-renowned Muhammad Ali. What started as a desire for revenge ignited a fire that would burn through boxing history. Young Cassius entered the gym with no fancy gear, just raw determination. His early training was humble: a pair of warm gloves, a punching bag, and a dream. He didn't have state-of-the-art facilities. He trained with whatever was available: jump ropes, dusty mats, and his own relentless willpower. While others saw limitations, Ali saw opportunity. He was fast, he was focused, and he was different. He moved like a dancer, floated like a butterfly, stung like a bee. By the age of 18, that same boy who once chased a bike thief was now chasing greatness. In 1960, he traveled to Rome and stunned the world by winning Olympic gold in boxing. Standing on the podium, Cassius Clay wasn't just a champion, he was a symbol of what belief and hard work could do. But when he came home to Kentucky, he still couldn't sit at a whites-only restaurant. He later said, "I had to fight more than just in the ring." Leadership lesson number 1. Greatness begins where comfort ends. Chapter 2. Becoming Ali. In 1964, after shocking the world by defeating Sonny Liston, he shocked them again. "I am no longer Cassius Clay. That's my slave name. I am Muhammad Ali." He joined the Nation of Islam, mentored by Malcolm X, seeking dignity, identity, truth. This wasn't a stunt. It was a spiritual awakening. He found God. He found peace. He found himself. Later, he embraced Sunni Islam, made Hajj to Mecca, and stood shoulder to shoulder with Muslims of every color and nation. Leadership lesson number 2. True leaders define themselves before the world tries to define them. Chapter 3. The stand that shook a nation. But his greatest fight wouldn't come in the ring. In 1967, he made a stand that shook America. The US government called him to fight in the Vietnam War, but Ali refused, saying, "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong." He believed the war was unjust, especially when racial injustice was rampant at home. He was stripped of his heavyweight title, banned from boxing, threatened with jail. Leadership lesson number 3. Principle over popularity. Courage is refusing to compromise your soul. Chapter 4. The Return of the King. Fight of the Century. Rumble in the Jungle. Thriller in Manila. Ali came back, and he roared. He fought Joe Frazier in the fight of the century, took down George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle, survived the brutal thriller in Manila. He made history as the first 3-time heavyweight champ. But it wasn't just fist that won. It was wit, rhythm, tactics. He once said, "The fight is won or lost far away from witnesses. In the gym, behind the lines, out there on the road." Chapter 5. The Quiet Battle. In the 1980s, Parkinson's came. The loudest voice in sports began to go quiet. His hands trembled, his steps slowed, but his spirit, unshaken. He lit the Olympic torch in 1996, a flame in his hand, a fire in his heart. He gave millions in charity, often in silence, hospitals, refugees, children with no hope. He gave them joy. Leadership lesson number 4. Power isn't in how loud you roar, but how gracefully you endure. The man behind the legend. Ollie was more than myth. He was human. He was funny. He cracked jokes, pulled pranks, rhymed on demand. "I'm so mean I make medicine sick." He loved poetry. He wrote it, spoke it, lived it. Ollie paved the way for generations of black artists, activists, and even rappers. Without Ollie, there's no Muhammad Ali, and maybe no hip-hop either. He had flaws too. He stayed in the ring too long. He could be too brash, too trusting, too proud. But he also grew. He apologized to Malcolm's family. He spoke of peace, of God, of eternity. Leadership lesson number 5. Legacy isn't about titles. It's about the lives you touch, and the truth you stand for. The flame never dies. Because Muhammad Ali was never just about boxing. When he passed in 2016, the world wept.
Breaking news.
I'm Natalie Allen at CNN Center. Muhammad Ali, the boxer called the greatest.
He was about becoming better, braver, bolder, not just for himself, but for all of us. He danced through war. He fought through silence. He rose through struggle. He was lightning and thunder, fists and faith, pride and poetry. He never stopped growing. Muhammad Ali, a champion in the ring, a leader far beyond it, and a legend who reminds us, service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. He stood on conscience, not convenience, and it cost him everything. They stripped his title, banned him from boxing, faced 5 years in prison, but he never backed down. His courage inspired a generation, marchers, protesters, and truth-tellers alike. Once a champ, always a champ.
I'm ready to back up everything I'm saying, and I'm through talking.
The man to beat me haven't been born yet. Well, I'll tell Henry Cooper if he's watching this show to come to the fight and be ready to fight, because I'm coming to get you. I'm coming to London to get you. And after I'm through beating him, I think he'll have to join the Beatles and be a singer.